Okay, I've been sitting on this for quite a while because I wanted to see how it played out. And finally, it looks like it's not going to play out very well. On November 18th, I had 4 disputes opened from a buyer about 4 different items. They opened up disputes with their credit card company. This is all on cosmetics. They opened up 4 disputes with their credit card company. The reason given was the buyer hasn't received a refund. That was the reason they provided for the dispute with their credit card company. This was ruled against me in January 22nd. It was ruled against me. I did have contact with the buyer, and I said, hey, that San Jose on your credit card, that was me, and you've opened up chargebacks. And they were like, oh, sorry. I'll contact my financial institution and tell them not to do the chargeback. I didn't realize that was eBay. I was like, okay, great. And I also appealed that with eBay at that point. I got in touch with eBay, and I really thought that everything was going to be cool at that point. I did. Like I said, that was back in November of last year, November 2020, November 18th to be exact. January 22nd, I got messages from eBay. That's what, 2 months later, that I had lost the disputes, and they immediately took, I am in managed payments on eBay. They immediately took $27.29 for one purchase, $26.99 for another one. They took $25.47 for another one, and $27.29 for another one. That was the prices of each one of the items purchased from me. They additionally took a dispute charge that they charge you of $20 per transaction. So those amounts, which I'll add up here in a minute, plus $20 per. Let me add this up. Okay, the total that they took from me at that point was $187.04. Now, I have messages, like I said, within the eBay system where the buyer admits they mistakenly started the chargeback. I also have tracking for each one of the items that shows delivered. I performed all functions as a seller as I should. I didn't do anything wrong that I know of anyways. I've been in contact since that decision was made. Been in contact with eBay 4 times now. And 3 of those times, I was told I would get contacted back. Never did. The second time, the guy escalated an appeal. Then he said I would be contacted back in about 15 days. Never was contacted back. I called them back. Guy said, let me look into this, and I'll get the original guy that sent the appeal up to contact you, or I'll contact you myself. That's been a couple of weeks ago. Never heard back from him. So I call back in today, and the person I talked to just now said that the appeals were all denied, and I questioned about seller protection, because we have protections for managed payment sellers. And the reason that the person gave were none of these. When a buyer reports that they haven't received their item, when a buyer reports that an item doesn't match the listing description, when a buyer reports they don't recognize the transaction. So if the buyer recognizes they don't recognize, if the buyer reports they don't recognize the transaction, if you do all these steps, right? Tracking number, delivered, date of delivery, recipient's address, proof of signature confirmation, if it needs to be, then you're covered, right? Well, I had all that stuff, but that wasn't the report. Their report was, hasn't received a refund. Well, there was no return ever opened. They never asked for a refund, anything like that. They simply didn't recognize the transaction, but the reason they gave was did not receive a refund. And they denied my appeal based on the reason that the customer selected. That was what the lady told me. And when I asked her, I said, hey, look, if you were me, and if you were me in this situation, would you feel like eBay was making the right decision here? And she thought that was a ridiculous question to ask. She didn't like that, did she, Candice?
Nope.
She did not like that whenever I asked her that. It was the most, I mean, I just want to bang my head into the wall. I would love to say it's just the principle here, and it is kind of the principle. However, 180 bucks is a lot of money. Like, that is a good chunk of change. I have spent, how many hours do you think I've spent on this now, Candice?
Oh my gosh, like probably about 4 or 5 just on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd also, I'm usually listing or doing something else on the side while that's going on, but, and I mean, my blood is friggin' boiling right now. I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm talking fast, talking loud, I'm mad. It's so ridiculous. And I was telling her, I was like, look, when this happened with PayPal in the past, if there was a chargeback, as long as I could prove that I sent the item and it got delivered, PayPal would eat it because they are the payment processor. I never get to see the credit cards. I don't get to look at that information and decide, hey, do I want to run this payment or not? That's not me. That's why we pay eBay, manage payments. That's why they get that payment processor fee. Part of that is they have to eat it when things go wrong like this. You know, this is completely out of my control. So I told the lady, I said, I reject everything you just told me. I think you're wrong. I think eBay's wrong. What can I do next? And she basically told me nothing. And I asked to speak to her supervisor. I Karen'd her. I mean, I think I was that rude? No. I think I was impassioned, but I don't think I was rude.
No.
I was definitely upset, but I don't think I got rude with her. I asked to speak to her supervisor.
Coming from somebody that's dealt with a lot of people in the customer service field, people that get upset, the way you handled it was to be expected. After everything you've been through, honestly, I would have expected you to act worse.
I was trying to keep my composure. Because I know the response you get in these situations a lot of times is determined by how you treat the person you're talking to. They can do more or less to help you if they want to, right? Like if you really want to help somebody bend over backwards, even though you have policies and stuff like that, sometimes you can find some ways to help them, right?
Yes.
So I try to be nice to these people. I do. But anyways, now supposedly a supervisor is going to call me back, and I'm not going to record that call because they're not going to give me permission. I don't want trouble with eBay as far as that goes, but I am going to record my half of the call, and I will tell y'all what the responses were later. I'll tell you what the response was, but I'm not going to record the call just because I think that could be problematic. Okay, it is about an hour and a half later, and no callback. I was hoping to put it in this video. No callback from the supervisor yet. So I'll probably follow up tomorrow, the next day, if I have time. I find I have to wait a few days in between these calls anyways, because I get so angry. Like, I really get mad here because it's infuriating to me because I know they're wrong. I know it. It definitely is. The more I think about it, it's principle, and it just eats away at me, and I hate that. And I really, it is the money to some extent, but I'm more, I'm gonna do the dad thing here. I'm more disappointed in eBay than I am mad at eBay. I'm disappointed that they're not acting with integrity in this situation. And I have seen that other people have had this same kind of problem. This is, in my opinion, this is a lack of corporate integrity on eBay's part. Basically, they're telling me that they can take the money and they're not going to take the loss because they don't have to. And you know what? They're right. I'm powerless, right? Where else am I going to cha-ching? I just sold something on eBay. Yay. Where else am I going to sell a lot of the stuff? And when I say I mean everyone. Where else are you going to sell like sports cards and things like that? You're kind of stuck. Not really. I mean, there are some other places to sell stuff, but eBay is such a great marketplace. And y'all know I am an eBay cheerleader. However, this time I question eBay's integrity. I question their decision, and I think they're wrong. I'll follow up again with more information whenever I have it. Have any of you had problems with disputes and chargebacks? And the thing that really gets me here is, okay, they took the money for the purchases, but then they nailed me 4 times at 20 bucks a piece dispute charge. That's like salt in the wound. So I'm so mad. I don't like to show this side very often, but this time I felt like I had to. I felt like I had to get it out there, just to be transparent. Because I am, and I still am, an eBay fanboy, eBay cheerleader. I love eBay. I love selling on eBay. I appreciate all of the freedoms I get by selling on eBay. I love it. But this time, I think eBay is wrong, and I think they are showing a severe lack of integrity. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see y'all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.